Today we're going through the beauty trends that didn't just hurt people, they killed them. And I'm not talking about uncomfortable shoes or a bad haircut. I'm talking about women painting poison onto their faces on purpose. Girls having their bones broken to look prettier. People drinking something that ate them alive from the inside, all in the name of looking good. Number 1. Foot binding. It's around 1,000 years ago in China, and a mother is holding her 5-year-old daughter's foot in her hands. The little girl doesn't know it yet, but she is about to lose the ability to walk normally for the rest of her life. Here's what's about to happen to her. Her feet will be soaked in warm water and herbs to soften the skin. Her toenails will be cut back as far as they go, and then her mother will take every toe except the big one and break them. Fold them under the sole of the foot and wrap the whole thing tight in a bandage 10 feet long. Then she'll break the arch too, bending the foot almost in half until the toes and the heel are being forced toward each other. And that's just day 1, because this doesn't heal and finish. Every couple of days the bandages come off, the feet are cleaned, and they are wrapped again, tighter. For years. The girl is made to walk on the broken bones to crush them into shape faster. The goal is a tiny, pointed foot only about 3 inches long, roughly the size of your phone from top to bottom. They called it the Golden Lotus, and it was considered the most beautiful thing a woman could have. Why would anyone do this to a child? Because in that world, tiny feet meant everything. They meant you were delicate. They meant you were wealthy enough that you'd never have to work or walk far. And most of all, they meant you could get married, because a girl with natural feet was seen as unmarriable. So mothers did it to their daughters out of love, believing they were giving them a future. The cost of that future was brutal. Toenails grew into the skin, infections set in, flesh could rot, and in some cases, toes fell off entirely, which was quietly seen as a bonus because it made the foot even smaller. Some girls got so sick from the infection that they died, though how often that happened, we honestly can't say for sure. And the ones who survived lived in pain, barely able to stand, for the rest of their lives. This wasn't a brief, rare fashion. Foot binding lasted for around 1,000 years. At its peak, it's estimated that around half of all Chinese women had bound feet, and nearly every woman in the upper class. Mothers bound their daughters, who grew up and bound their own daughters, generation after generation, an entire civilization breaking the feet of its little girls because the alternative, a normal foot, had been turned into something shameful. It was finally banned in the early 1900s, but by then it had crippled women for 1,000 years. Number 2. Lead and arsenic. Jump to Europe a few hundred years ago, where the most fashionable women alive are painting their faces with poison, and they have no idea. The look everyone wants is skin like porcelain, pale, flawless, ghostly white, because pale skin means you're rich, that you never work outside like a common laborer. So women reach for the best product money can buy. It's called Venetian ceruse, and it gives you that perfect white finish like nothing else. There's just one small problem. It's made of white lead. And lead, it turns out, does not stay politely on the surface of your skin. It sinks in. It poisons you a little more with every layer. It rots your teeth, thins your hair, and slowly eats away at the very skin you were painting, which is where it becomes a nightmare. Because as the makeup damages your face, what do you do to hide the damage? You put on more makeup, more lead, which does more damage, so you add another layer. It's a trap that tightens every time you try to escape it, your face getting worse, your solution being the exact thing destroying it. One of the most beautiful women in Britain got caught in that trap. Her name was Maria Gunning, a genuine celebrity of her time, famous across the country for her looks. She loved her cosmetics. She would not stop using them even as they wrecked her complexion. And in 1760, the lead finally finished the job. She died from her own makeup at just 27 years old. People at the time called it death by vanity. And if painting poison on your face sounds bad, some people ate it. In the 1800s, you could buy little wafers laced with arsenic and swallow them on purpose to make your skin pale and clear. Arsenic, the stuff we now use to kill rats, sold as a beauty supplement with a smile and the promise that it was perfectly safe. Number 3. Lash lore. Now come to the 1930s, and beauty has entered the modern age. No more mysterious potions. Now it's a real product on a real shelf in a proper bottle with a brand name. and it will still take your eyes. It's called lash lure, and the promise is simple and genius. It dyes your eyelashes and eyebrows dark and full, permanently. No daily makeup, no effort. Women love the idea. You go to a salon, someone brushes it on, and you walk out with the eyes you always wanted. Except lash lure was built on a harsh chemical dye that was never meant to go anywhere near your eyes. And for a lot of women, the reaction was catastrophic. Their eyelids blistered, their eyes swelled shut. Ulcers opened up on the surface of the eye itself. Doctors described watching women's eyes get eaten away as if by acid. More than a dozen women were blinded, and at least one woman died when the infection from her ruined face spread through her body and killed her. Here's the part that actually changed history. Back then, nobody was checking these products before they went on sale. There was no safety testing, no approval, no one whose job it was to say this stuff might blind you. Lash lure became one of the horror stories that finally forced that to change, helping create the rules that now check whether the things we put on our bodies are safe. So the next time a product says it's been tested for safety, you can partly thank the women who lost their eyes to a bottle of eyelash dye. Bringing it home. 4 and 5. Number 4. The scar. Now for the one that breaks the pattern completely. Because so far, this has been about looking flawless. This is the opposite. These people wanted to look damaged, on purpose. Go to the universities of Germany over 100 years ago. Young men, students, the future doctors and lawyers and leaders of the country are standing in a room facing each other with sharp blades. This is a kind of formal duel, and it has one very strange rule. You are not allowed to flinch. You're not really allowed to dodge. You stand there, and you let the other man's blade come at your face. Why would anyone do that? Because the whole point was the wound. A scar across your cheek was a badge of honor. It told the world you were brave, that you were educated, that you belonged to the elite, and it was considered genuinely attractive, the kind of thing that made you more desirable, not less. A clean, unmarked face meant you were a coward who'd flinched. And this is where it gets almost unbelievable. Getting the scar wasn't enough. They wanted it to show. So after the duel, some of them would make the wound worse on purpose, irritating it so it would heal into a thicker, uglier, more obvious line. Instead of asking a doctor to make the scar smaller, they asked for fewer stitches so it would scar bigger. Now, you might have heard this got tied to horsehair, this idea of a strange face tradition involving stuffing horsehair into wounds. That's mostly a garbled, exaggerated version of the truth. The real story is simpler and stranger. These men slashed each other's faces in a formal ritual and then wore the damage with pride for the rest of their lives, a permanent scar as the ultimate status symbol. Some of them carried a dozen or more. Same instinct as everyone else on this list. The desperate need to signal who you are on your own face. They just did it with a sword. Number 5. Radium. And finally, we come back to that man and his bottle of miracle water. It's the 1920s, and the hottest ingredient in the world is radium. It had just been discovered. It glowed in the dark. And people were convinced this mysterious glowing element was pure life energy in a jar. So they put it in everything. Face creams that promised to erase your wrinkles, powders, soap, and tonics you drank to feel young and alive. The problem is that radium is radioactive, and when you take it into your body, it doesn't give you life. It settles into your bones and quietly destroys them from the inside. Which brings us back to Eben Byers, our wealthy man who drank his miracle tonic every day for years. It was radium water. And by the end, the radium had done exactly what radium does. His bones were crumbling, he was wasting away. And most horrifying of all, his jaw was rotting off his own face, so badly that surgeons had to remove pieces of it. A newspaper summed up his story with a headline nobody ever forgets. The radium water worked fine until his jaw came off. He was buried in a coffin lined with lead because his body was still radioactive. And that's where 5,000 years of this leaves us. Because look at everything we just went through. Broken feet, poisoned faces, blinded eyes, sliced cheeks, a rotting jaw. Different centuries, different countries, different ideas of what beautiful even means. But underneath every single one of them is the exact same human bargain. The willingness to damage your own body to be seen the way you want to be seen. And it never really goes away. The methods change, the poison changes, the trend changes, but the deal stays the same, and there's always someone ready to sell it to you. They all just wanted to be beautiful. It's the oldest reason in the world, and sometimes it's the most dangerous one.